All right, you guys have started doing this on Thursdays, right? The Super Six?
Yes. Are kind of like fluid rankings of the NFL.
Power rankings.
Yes, and we do them from the bottom up. So here we go, and we'll see if we agree or we disagree, because we don't discuss this.
No comparing notes.
All right, number 6, because they were in it last week as well. I think they were actually higher, and I dropped them. It's not their fault because they didn't play last week, I don't believe. The Seattle Seahawks. It's at 6.
Okay.
At 5, a team that the Seattle Seahawks actually beat on the road, that would be the Detroit Lions at 5. At 4, a team the Detroit Lions actually beat on the road, the Kansas City Chiefs. At 3, the Miami Dolphins. At 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. And 1, the San Francisco 49ers. That's my Super 6. And it obviously changes week to week.
As it should. Like,
yes.
People think this stuff is like ironclad, especially college football rankings. Like, this stuff's going to change rapidly. And in the NFL, these teams are going to lose. Niners aren't going to go undefeated the whole season. Eagles aren't going to go undefeated the whole season.
Right.
All right. Starting at 6, I went Buffalo Bills. When you beat a team like Miami, that was ultimately what put them into the top 6 for me.
Even with 2 losses?
With 2 losses.
Okay.
I got the Chiefs at number 5.
Okay.
Bested by a team that beat Kansas City, the Detroit Lions, who are number 4 for me.
Okay.
Number 3 is the Dolphins, 2 is the Eagles, 1 is the Niners.
Okay, so our top 3 is the same.
I think that's probably most people's top 3.
Yeah. I thought about Buffalo because I think Buffalo probably might be better than Seattle, but they lost to the Jets. Granted, they lost on a punt return in overtime, but it's still a loss.
Counts.
And they lost to Jacksonville. And granted, Jacksonville had an extra week of preparation because it was the second straight week they were playing overseas.
Bills are coming off that big emotional win against the Dolphins, and they laid an egg.
Yeah.
So we're doing this just like college, the now. Right?
Yes.
So it's the knock against Michigan not being in the top 4 or whatever because they haven't played in it.
If you were saying who's going to win the Super Bowl, I may have the Chiefs higher than 5, but I have them at 5 right now.
Yeah, I think that the only debate here is Buffalo or Seattle at 6.
Yeah.
And that the top 5. I actually, right now, I'm going Niners, Eagles, Lions 3, Chiefs, Miami, and then Seattle. Okay. I'm picking Seattle because Seattle's had one bad thing this year, and Buffalo's had 2, which is basically their losses, but the overtime loss. And Allen played awful in that game. And so Buffalo and Seattle would be on par week 1. And then Buffalo last week wasn't ready to play.
Curious why you have the Lions ahead of the Dolphins.
Because I think the Lions are the more well-rounded team. Okay. All right, you want to have a little fun? Who's better right now, the Lions or the Dolphins? I know First Take did yesterday, Cowboys or Lions, bigger Super Bowl threat.
Which, pause, before anybody answers that. How cool is that that's the question?
I know.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
But let's make
and
this
the answer is the Lions, by the way.
Lions or Dolphins? Who's better? I think the Lions are the better balanced team.
I think the Dolphins' defense is underrated, to be honest with you. But I just think because I think
they gave up 48 in Buffalo.
I think the Dolphins can outscore anybody. So that's why I think the Dolphins are a little better right now.
They've got the receivers everybody knows, but I think this year them running the ball way better than they did a year ago makes them a more complete team. And yes, Vic Fangio on the defense is going to pay dividends.
Now, Chain is hurt, so that changes things maybe a little
they'll
bit.
just plug in the next dude. Mostert will be fine. Jeff Wilson's on his way back.
Yes.
It's the Shanahan concept.
Correct.
Just plug in any old running back.
Yeah.
If they see this thing to the end, that they're the greatest show on turf because they're statistically ahead of them in some categories right now. The 2,000 Rams, 99 Rams. One of the great offenses this league's ever seen in a single season. If they're that, then yeah, they are better because their offense will be able to overcome a defense. Their offense will help their defense. But right now, I actually think the Lions are the better roster, complete team. I'm not going to let myself get fooled by offensive. It's always sexier when you play the brand of football that they play.
I understand.
We talked earlier about the Lions' 4-game stretch. How about Miami in their next 4 games? They will play at Philadelphia, and they will host Kansas City.
So we'll know.
We'll know.
Yeah.
Telling.
I mean,
same with the Lions. I mean, let's see where these two teams at this 4-game window thing.
Go to Baltimore and
that's the beauty of the Super Six.
They got Carolina this week, so they're going to light them up.
Right. And they got the Patriots in there, too. I mean, the Dolphins have some gimmies and some freebies. Yeah. They'll play the Raiders, too. The Dolphins may end up, depending on how that Kansas City game goes, with the 1 seed in the AFC.
Right. I mean, look, when they play at Philly's defense, especially their secondary, is their the worst part of their game. And with that passing attack, they might be able to exploit the Eagles and win in Philly. Who knows?
Then you're putting them number 1 in your Super 6. They go into Philadelphia and win that game?
Well, not if the 49ers are unbeaten.
So are they like entrenched number 1?
Yeah,
What would they have to do?
Last week, I basically declared that the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl, and everybody was laughing at me.
We did the wide 9 yesterday, and you said there's no flaw if they don't get injuries.
Yes.
So I guess the answer is yes. They're entrenched number 1.
They are, as Thanos said, inevitable Super Bowl champions unless something crazy or injuries happen.
So like the Thanos glove, it's like Christian McCaffrey on like one knuckle, and then Debo, and they go through the whole deal. Ayuk and Kittle and Brock Purdy. They're missing the final piece.
Yeah, well, one of those stones is going to have to get destroyed. Okay. Rico's loving
this is
now.
this is radio
like
for Rico.
He's like, what's that dropper? He goes, oh.